Yo, growing a business is kind of tricky right now. Supply chains are squeezed, tariffs and trade policies are dynamic, and cash flow, it's tighter than ever. You need clarity to come out on top. Without it, you risk falling behind. If only you could hop in the DeLorean and see the future, right? Thankfully, there's NetSuite by Oracle. NetSuite has real-time forecasting to help you move ahead with confidence. This is your AI-powered business management suite and the #1 cloud ERP. Trusted by over 42,000 businesses, NetSuite brings accounting, financial management, inventory, and HR all under one roof. It's your single source of truth, giving you the data and control you need to move quickly. And with AI built in, you can automate the busy work and focus on strategy. NetSuite helps you see what's stuck, what it's costing you, and how to pivot fast. If I were running a business with a lot of moving parts, I'd use NetSuite for full control over everything. Tame the chaos with NetSuite. If your revenues are at least in 7 figures, download the free ebook, Navigating Global Trade, 3 Insights for Leaders at netsuite.com/SPI. That's netsuite.com/SPI. Hey, I get it. You've worked really hard to build up your business, and it's doing great. So great that you need help now. The most important thing for your business is to hire the right people to support it. So how can you find amazing candidates quickly? Easy. Just use Indeed. When it comes to hiring, Indeed is all you need. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. Indeed Sponsored Jobs helps you stand out and hire fast. And with Sponsored Jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. And it makes a huge difference. According to Indeed data, Sponsored Jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applicants than non-sponsored jobs. And it's one of the largest databases of job seekers, too, giving business owners access to a wide range of candidates. And one of the things I love most about Indeed is the job alerts feature. I get notified when new candidates apply. There's no need to wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/smartpassive. Just go to Indeed.com/smartpassive right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/smartpassive. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring Indeed is all you need. The perfect product launch. It's the goal for every brand marketer. High heat, fast sellout, and fans posting recipes like trophies. What do Sydney Sweeney's soap drop, Taylor Swift's tickets, and your next launch have in common? Well, they're not bought, they're bragged about. Fanfare turns your drop into a moment. Fanfare cues real fans, blocks bots, and builds launch experiences worth screenshotting. Want hype without the heartbreak? Get Fanfare's 5-step hype drop playbook with our proven success formula and make your next launch unforgettable at fanfare.io/playbook. Again, fanfare.io/playbook.
Evergreen runs on all our products all the time, but we will do a live promotion or a live launch once a year. So for the main product, 10K Readers, we do an affiliate launch once every year. And there's a reason we do it once a year. It's because it's exhausting. And it makes you want to just go to bed for a week.
You're listening to a conversation that I had recently with Nick Stephenson from yourfirst10kreaders.com, who's also a former guest here on the show back in episode 162, which was back in May of 2015. When he came on for the first time, he talked about his very first product launch, which was over $130,000. The fun story about Nick was that he was actually sitting in the audience on a webinar that I produced and co-host, that he then bought a course related to building an online course, and that was run through David Siteman Garland. He became a major success story, and simultaneously he emailed both myself and David thanking us about just how crazy his launch went and how unbelievable it was. And now, nearly 4 years later, I guess 3.5 years later, he's back on the show to tell us not just what he's been up to and what's been happening recently, but exactly how he puts it all together. He now has evergreen launches on top of live launches, on top of multiple products and multiple contents and a lot of systems going on. And what's really nice is Nick really breaks down the process for us of how he's able to manage all these things that are happening all at the same time. And honestly, I remember when I had this conversation not too long ago before recording this intro, I was like, wow, you make it sound so simple. And the funny thing about entrepreneurship is that we often try to overcomplicate things. And I think it is those who simplify processes that are successful. Nick is definitely one of those people. So you've got to make sure you stick around. And I almost feel like this episode could be potentially broken up into 2 sessions, because I do spend a little bit of time at the end also speaking to those of you who are interested in writing books and selling books, because that is Nick's expertise. He actually helps authors get more readers. And so he actually breaks down a very specific strategy about how anybody starting from scratch can get their first readers for books that they publish on Amazon. It's a very smart tactic that I had never even considered before that he reveals and just gives away today. So you got to make sure you stick around all the way into the end. This is an amazing show, and I'm just looking forward to serving you here. So make sure you stick around. Let's get to the intro music.
Welcome to the Smart Passive Income Podcast, where it's all about working hard now so you can sit back and reap the benefits later. And now your host. He's got good days and bad days, but he's thankful for every day. Pat Flynn.
While DIY website tools are everywhere, most fall short on design and performance. Hit publish. Framer ships your site worldwide in seconds. No code, no compromises. Framer is a powerful, user-friendly platform that delivers developer-level results without writing a single line of code. Make your designs move and convert with Framer. Framer brings your site to life with powerful animations, dynamic content handling, and a design-first approach that helps your site stand out. Framer is the design-first, no-code website builder that lets anyone ship a production-ready site in minutes. Browse hundreds of pixel-perfect templates or even design something of your own on a totally blank canvas. Add bold animations like appear effects, text effects, scroll and looping animations, and much more in seconds. And it's free to start. The built-in AI handles the heavy lifting of generating starter layouts and can even translate your entire site to any language. On the back end, you'll get responsive breakpoints, built-in hosting, a flexible CMS, and privacy-friendly analytics. Ready to build a site that looks hand-coded without hiring a developer? Launch your site for free at Framer.com and use code SPI to get your first month of pro on the house. That's Framer.com, promo code SPI. Framer.com, promo code SPI. Rules and restrictions may apply. Do you know the secret to businesses that are scaling faster than ever? They're using Upwork to tap into a diverse pool of skilled freelancers across various industries. With Upwork, you can find specialized freelancers in marketing, development, design, and more. Experts who are ready to help you take your business to the next level. I've personally used Upwork myself and can vouch for it. Posting a job on Upwork is easy. With no cost to join, you can register, browse freelancer profiles, get help drafting a job post, or even book a consultation. From there, you connect with freelancers that get you and can easily hire them to take your business to the next level. Upwork makes the entire process easier, simpler, and more affordable with industry-low fees. Post a job today and hire tomorrow with Upwork. Visit Upwork.com right now and post your job for free. That is Upwork.com to post your job for free and connect with top talent ready to help you grow your business. That's Upwork.com. Again, Upwork.com.
What is up, Team Flynn? Thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Pat Flynn, here to help you make more money, save more time, and help more people too. And by the way, if you haven't joined Team Flynn yet and become a part of the community, all you have to do is hit subscribe. And these podcasts head your way every single Wednesday. We dive deep into an entrepreneur's story, or I give you a lot of tips to help you scale and grow your business and do it in a safe way that also saves you time. So make sure you hit subscribe to the show if you haven't already. This is session 358 with Nick Stephenson. He's going to be revealing a ton of amazing strategies to help us organize. And this is really relevant for anybody because even if you're just starting out, you likely in the future are going to be either releasing your first product or your first book. You're going to want to learn how to make it evergreen so that you can get some more time back, but do it in a way that's authentic, but also smart. And like Nick was saying earlier, potentially getting other people to help support the launch of these things, which is a very tiresome process, but we dive into that a little bit as well. So without further ado, here is Nick Stephenson from yourfirst10kreaders.com and also SPI episode 162 way back in May 2015. Here he is now. Mr. Nick Stephenson, thank you so much for being back on the SPI podcast. It's been almost 4 years since you've been last on the show. It's really, really good to see you back on.
Thank you for having me. It's been fantastic. It's been a wild few years, but yeah, it's been very cool. Thank you.
Wild in a good way or wild in a bad way?
In a good way. In a good way.
Okay, that's good. Well, let's actually dive into that. You know, the last time you were on the show was May 20th, 2015 in episode 162, and we're 200 episodes later now, and that episode was titled A First Timer's $130,208 product launch. You have a business called yourfirst10kreaders.com, and that was about your first launch, which, just for everybody who doesn't know or may not remember that, can you give us a quick couple-minute rundown of how you got started and what you do, and also what it is that you do?
Yeah, absolutely. It was a crazy time because I'd been working the usual sort of corporate jobs for a while after finishing university, which is one of the fun things about graduating, like on the recession. It was super fun. It was so much fun. This was around the time that a lot of authors started experimenting with Kindle, which everyone is familiar with these days. But sort of back in 2010, 2011 was when it started kind of kicking off for a lot of people. And these were authors who they're called referred to as mid-list authors. So they're not like the super mega bestsellers. They're the career authors who are putting out several books a year and kind of going round to bookstores and signings and everything and trying to keep things going. Mm-hmm. And they were experimenting with Kindle and self-publishing and finding that they were able to make much more of an impact and build a stronger career through self-publishing. And that was something that I always kind of wanted to do. But, being an author isn't really a career option at school, is it? It's not, you don't sit down with the career counselor and map out the road to authorship. Right. So you kind of have to experiment a little bit. So I kind of, I knew I always enjoyed writing, but never had a way of putting it into a career. And then I started writing books, thrillers, fiction books to start with. And I was enjoying the process. I was putting books out, self-publishing, and I was sharing my journey on an old blog that I set up, and people were really engaging with it. They were following along, they were getting excited about all these things I was discovering. And then after a few years, I was able to quit my job and write full time. And shortly after that, people were saying, how did you do this? How did you get your audience growth? How did you sustain sales and all this kind of stuff? And I figured, well, the easiest way to do it, instead of saying the same thing to everyone who emails in, is to put up some content, create a course, which was what I did back in end of 2014, launched it in 2015. And it had such a staggering impact. I mean, that six-figure launch was something that I never really dreamed of. So it kind of floored me a little bit, but it just shows, how eager people were for the content and to learn about it. And that's what I've been focusing on since then, is really just kind of making that the education side, the nonfiction side, the courses into something that helps a lot of people around the world, and built it into a sustainable business over the last few years. So that's been really, really cool.
That's amazing. Is it purely fiction or not, or that you're helping people with?
It's a mix. I mean, it's teaching people principles and strategies rather than, if you're a science fiction author, you have to do something different to a fantasy author versus like a non-fiction author or how-to kind of author. It's teaching people, marketing principles, how they apply to selling books and how they might apply to audience growth and things like that. So it's targeted very much at authors, but no specific genres really. So it's kind of everybody.
Right. And I love that. And being an author myself, I know I have a huge advantage having an audience and a podcast and stuff. So most authors likely are only focused on the writing part and need that help for the marketing part, which is huge, where you come in. And I encourage everybody to listen to episode 162, because Nick goes a little bit deeper into that origin story of his first product launch. He actually tells you the tools and the platforms that he uses. And actually, you got inspired to create this course through a webinar that you were sitting in that I co-hosted with David Simon Garland, because I remember
that was it.
That was it. And we tell that story all the time. David and I team up every year to get more people to learn about how to create their courses. And we always tell that story because you sent us both an email right around the same time about how just blown away you were. And it just makes us feel special that we had some sort of role in that. But obviously you took action and you're crushing it. And I'd love to get a sense of, and this was funny because when I started my business too, I had a six-figure business, rather quickly, in a year and a half. And I had a lot of people going, well, how long do you think this is going to last for you? Is this just a flash in the pan? How are you going to sustain this? How have you been able to sustain since that first amazing launch? And how have you been able to sustain and continue this business and keep it growing for such a long period of time?
I think the main thing is just really, really focusing on the long-term stuff. And this goes back to when I was a full-time author as well. Books was my only income at the time. And I remember I'd come down the stairs in the morning and I'd go on the computer and I'd be checking my sales stats would be like the first thing. And it's like there's this existential horror of the feeling that before you check your stats, that somehow, it's all vanished, it's all gone, it's dried up, never to be seen again. And it was kind of this continual feeling of dread that it was going to kind of dry up at any moment. And then I kind of decided, well, I need to build a business that doesn't feel like that. Something that you can rely on, that you can grow and is sustainable over time. And it was really just really forcing myself to focus on that. Mm-hmm. So, it's a case of, for me, it was building up monthly recurring revenue was the priority. Building up a kind of a system of creating traffic and then getting them to sign up to an email list and then putting them through different funnels and different email sequences depending on what they were interested in. So that whether we're talking about, book sales or course sales, or we have a software company now as well, looking at what are people interested in, where are we sending them, and how are these sales coming through each day and each week and each month, and looking at ways of optimizing everything for the long term. So a lot of people who launch courses, they'll have they'll put everything into their first launch. They may do well, they may not do well, but after that, it's kind of like, what do I do next? Right. And I remember feeling this, after we sat down last time, all those years ago. And it was very much like it's a strange feeling when you are in a position where you've done something that not many people have done, and certainly no one in your immediate family or friends group. You can't really talk to them about it, can you? It's like you can't sit down and go, "Hey, what do I do for my next course launch? Do you have any tips, Dad?" They have no clue. And most people online, you go to forums or you ask around on social media or whatever. They're at a different stage. They might be creating a course or getting ready for their first launch, or they may not be in that space at all. So it was very difficult at first to try and figure out. I've done this big launch, but is that it? What do I do next? It was very unclear. So I think a lot of the help I had from people like David Simon Garland and resources like yours and other resources out there where people are breaking down what does happen next is incredibly useful. So I was really focused on making sure that any income I was getting was recurring, was repeatable, and was sustainable. So that's kind of the general focus that I had, and it seems to be working well.
That's fantastic. What was step 2 for you after that launch? Was that launch for a recurring model, or what were those next steps for you?
Well, it was the first launch had a payment plan. I think it was a 3-month payment plan, or people could pay in full for it. Mm-hmm. And so of course, then by month 4, all the income's gone. Right. It's like, okay, well, what do I do next? So I knew that I kind of wanted to move into a sort of an evergreen model as quickly as I could, which means people are seeing an opt-in or a video series or a PDF or something, and they can sign up to get more information, and they can go through some free training and get some blog articles and go through a sequence of emails to get to know me, to understand what I teach, and to try out some things for themselves. And then at the right time, they move into like a sales sequence, which will then sell them the course that they're interested in over a defined period. So it's like having a live launch, but you're kind of running it all the time based on when people are coming in. So we mix that up with live stuff as well that we do. So we try to have a variety of kind of different models going on at the same time and test and see which ones work the best. But really that was it for us. Was like I decided, like, we've had this big launch, but then all the revenue is going to go in a couple of months. Mm-hmm. So let's look at, we installed a 12-month payment plan, which people really liked because then it splits the cost. And then for us, we've got that reliable monthly income coming in. Mm-hmm. And then we set up all of our fun Evergreen systems, which were horribly complicated back then. Horribly complicated back then. And are slightly less complicated now.
Right.
And really then it becomes a job of, well, my role as the CEO of this company is to develop new products and generate traffic. So it became like a very simple job description. So I know a lot of people have who have products online. It's kind of like a try everything model. So they'll have, they'll be doing Twitter and Facebook, and they'll be running ads and doing blogs and doing podcasts and doing a dozen different things. but not entirely sure if anything's working or what's working. But they know they have to do something, so they kind of try a bit of everything and see what works. But for me, I wanted to get that position where I knew that, my role is very, very simple. We've got these systems set up, so my only job really is to generate traffic and then develop new products. So that really helped kind of narrow down the focus, because it can get very overwhelming if you're not careful.
It definitely can, and I love how you've just kept it simple, and then any sort of actions that you take are relevant to new products, new traffic, and you just kept it simple like that, which is great. I also love that the idea of like recurring for you, which when I talk about recurring, often the thought is, okay, well, how can I create a monthly membership program of some kind? Which is completely different than, for example, what you offer, which is, a course with a very specific outcome. Like literally the title of your website is your first 10K readers. I mean, that's very clear. You can't get any more clear than that, which is often the trouble with people who are creating solutions online. But to go evergreen, you just decided to, we're going to create these payment plans, and we're going to be predictable with our income based on what sounds like the traffic that's coming in and how much people are paying every month.
Exactly, yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Your funnels, I want to talk about that really quick. Can you give us an idea of like perhaps one of those funnels, one of those entry points, and walk me through what my experience might be like? And
yeah, sure.
Perhaps others can sign up to even experience this.
So the homepage we've got at yourfirst10kreaders.com is promoting a video series. And this is something people have seen before. They're familiar with it. 3-part video series. And people can sign up for it. And then they're kind of delivered these videos over about a week long. So 3 videos delivered over a week. And in between the videos, there's some blog content goes out and asking them questions, and people reply in. And then at the end of that week, they get moved into a separate funnel, which is aimed at selling the course. So we give them, preview material, we give them testimonials, and it's more of a sales call to action rather than the purely educational stuff that we've been sending.
Right.
And that's kind of timed. There's a piece of software called Deadline Funnel, which is fantastic. And that that tracks people as they enter your funnel. So it puts a little cookie on their browser, and it recognizes their email address, so that when you send them links to a sales page, you can close it down after a certain period of time if you want to. So we found that, when people go through like a sales sequence, if it's kind of open-ended and there's no deadline or anything like that, then people tend not to take action, as I'm sure you've seen as well.
Yes.
And this piece of software just means that, we can say to people, you sign up for this video series, we're going to give you a week of free videos, and then we're going to tell you about the course, which will be open for the second week, and then at the end of that, it's going to be closed.
And it's actually closed for them. Like they cannot get access to it anymore.
No, so they're being tracked by cookie, and we know their email address and everything. And if they try to go onto the sales page after the deadline, it's closed off for them. I think they probably could manage it if they really tried. I'm not going to stop you.
Go to the library and try to go through the same process.
If you try to do that, I mean, it might work for them, but generally people can't access it, and that's kind of the way we wanted it. Because we found that when you give people, and I know this from personal experience because people have emailed in and said, "Hey, I missed the deadline. I'll send them a link," knowing full well they won't buy it because they didn't act before the deadline, so they're not going to act now. I send them the link anyway, and usually nothing happens. So we knew that we had to build some kind of deadline into it. And we don't do that for all products, but for that particular course, we found that having a deadline really, really works to help motivate people and get the right people in who are going to take action and do the work. So we found that to be very, very useful. And it's all kind of tracked automatically in our email system, and we've got this deadline tracking software as well. So that was the first funnel we set up. And then from there on, it was really adding more funnels and keeping the focus really on educating. So even the sales part of it isn't really salesy. It's just more content, but then with a call to action at the bottom. So it's really prioritizing people learning something rather than being too salesy about it. But we're just adding more of these sequences and funnels on over the last few years to include things like webinars, article series, blogs. Some of them, half of them don't have a sales sequence attached to them. It's just content that we send out to keep people motivated and give them something interesting that they can apply to their business. So we really wanted to set up about 6 months worth of content for people when they join our list. We look at what kind of actions they're taking when we send them emails, and depending on what actions they take, we send them through different content sequences, and that's all handled automatically by our email system, and that's been really, really cool, because then you're not caught on that content treadmill so much of having to get a new blog post out every week or every day, or writing new emails every day, because you've got that pre-written stuff that's going out to new people all the time. So that's been really, really cool.
If I'm in this funnel, I see your videos, I get pitched the course, but I don't take action. The deadline passes, I'm unable to get it. Do you try to re-engage me to get it again in the future, or is it basically just, you tried once and, sorry?
We wait. We usually wait about 3 or 4 months before mentioning it again.
Okay, and how do you mention it to me? Is it automated to wait 3 months before going through the same cycle, or how does that work?
Well, with that particular course, if someone doesn't buy the first time round, and that's usually how they join our list, is through that funnel. So we know that they've been pitched that product already, they didn't buy it. So we send them through some content focused sequences, like send them to the blog, send them different articles, send them podcast recordings, other videos, and then we will send them to a different product altogether. Okay. And then after that one, we send them through some more content as well, and then it's a different product. And then more content, and then it might be the same product again, the 10K Readers course for a second time, but it might be in a different format. So we gave you the videos last time. This time we're going to give you the webinar. So you can choose to go watch the webinar, and if you choose not to go watch it, then we won't pitch it to you again until much later on down the line. Maybe if we do a live launch once a year, you'll hear about it then. So it's really just avoiding kind of overselling the same thing again and again and again, because that's not going to end well for anybody. So we try to mix it up and have a mix of products that we offer and just content focused stuff, and try to keep people engaged and with a variety of different stuff that's going out to them.
Thank you for that. Now, you had mentioned your blog, and I'm here at yourfirst10kreaders.com. I don't see a way to get to your blog. You have literally, it looks like a landing page for your free training with a video I can click on, and you show me what the free training is all about, and it's how to find your first 10,000 readers, exact system I use to grow my business from 0 to $1 million in 24 months, used by thousands of my students worldwide. I can click on that, get a video, but there's no blog here. This is kind of an untraditional sort of homepage, if you will. Can you talk me through why you've positioned it in this way?
Well, we set up the blog separately. So that's blog.yourfirst10kreaders.com. And I toyed with the idea of having the blog on the homepage, the one you're looking at.
Yep.
But then we thought, well, the reason we're sending people here is to get them into the video series, because we're sending people to this page, whether it's via ads or from a blog article or some other call to action. So we want people to sign up. So we didn't put the blog link on there, because we wanted people to focus on the video training. But over at the blog, that's the site that gets the Google traffic. So if you're typing in questions about author marketing, ours will pop up, and it'll be the blog. And then from the blog, we're sending people to that landing page, or different landing pages. So it depends what we're doing with the traffic, really. So if we have control over where the traffic goes, generally we'll send them to a landing page. But having content out in the world is all hosted on the blog, which is separate.
Got it. But it's the same brand, though. It's the same.
Yeah, it's the same brand. Whether or not that's the best way of doing it, I don't know. I don't have the data on it, but it's worked well for us to keep it relatively separate. And then our the main course site then is relatively easy to manage, and then the blog is a kind of a separate thing that we can manage separately in a different way. So it helped us from a organization standpoint, and we just never really blended them together because we didn't have any compelling reason to do it at the time. So
that's really great. And the final question about kind of this process here, as I'm thinking about this, is it's very clear that on your first 10kreaders.com, I can get the free training to find your first 10,000 readers. But isn't that not the same thing as your product that you teach? How do you delineate between what it is that you offer for free in your video training versus and how to upgrade people into the paid course?
Well, we mention it like the first thing. It's like one of the first things we say is, I'm going to send you some free video training, and then I'm going to tell you about our premium training. And it's all under the heading of your first 10,000 readers. And we tell people when they sign up, hey, we're going to be in about a week, we're going to tell you about the premium course. But for now, we want to make sure that you understand the principles. And if this matches with what you're looking to do, then you might be interested in the premium side. So, excuse me, we make it super obvious what's happening at every step of the way. Try to be as transparent as we can. So there's no surprise, we're selling something
right.
after a week or so. So we haven't had anyone get confused yet, thankfully, which is good. But we just try to make it as clear as possible what's happening.
I think you've positioned that very well. The videos are about the principles, making sure this is something they want to do. Probably, I'm assuming, sharing what can happen if you were to have your first 10,000 readers and what you can do with that to get people fired up so that they would then want the training. And I love that you're just being completely upfront about that and sandwiching that with really valuable content. I'm sure that then would get people excited and, probably drill to get that information.
Yeah,
to get there.
The way we've done it is we've said, in the free video training, we're going to tell you everything. I'm going to tell you everything you need to do. In the premium training, the course that you pay for, we're going to show you how to do it. So all the detailed steps, do this and then do that, and you can see a screen share, and I'll show you exactly what to do. Because it depends what level people are at. Mm-hmm. Because they can come and watch the video, and I may say something like, you need to focus on building an email list, and here's the top 3 ways that I think are the best ways of doing it, and I'll tell them these are the top 3 ways. But they might not know how to go and set that up for themselves, or they might not understand how it works. And that's what the premium training is for, is to show them, okay, I've given you the principles, but now I'm going to show you how to do it. So even if they don't buy the course, my goal was to always give them the information that they needed to make it work regardless. Mm-hmm. That's
very clear. I think you're probably the person who's ever said it the most clear on the show in terms of how to delineate that, which is great. The last thing here, I, for example, hear about this course from a friend or whoever, and I go to this page and I go, okay, I just want the course. I don't need the video training. I know I need to do this already. Is there a way, or do you allow for people to just jump over the hoop here and get the course directly, or are they forced to go through this?
Generally, I like them to go through the training, because I've had it in the past where people have come to me and said, hey, I've heard about X, Y, and Z. I've heard about this course and X, Y, and Z. I want to just buy it. I don't want to go. I don't want to see the videos. Usually I'll get them to go through the videos, because I want them to be sure that it's what they're looking for. Because sometimes someone who wants to jump ahead and just get it, they might be expecting some kind of magic bullet or some kind of voodoo secret that's going to make them, millionaires overnight or something. And that's kind of alarm bells go off in my head. Mm-hmm. And on, I think, every occasion where someone hasn't been through the video training, they don't buy it. So I don't send the link out anymore, because it's not worth doing. But we did have someone yesterday actually who contacted me on Twitter and said, I'm in your funnel. So he knows it's a funnel. He says, I'm in your funnel and I'm already sold. I just want to get the course now. Can I have a link? So I was like, I don't know. Let's go have a look. So I looked him up in our email database, and I saw that he'd been through all 3 videos. He'd watched them all. He clicked them. He was like the most engaged person ever. And I was like, yeah, this guy obviously knows what he wants. Yep. He's been through the material. He knows it's for him. He knows it works. He knows he wants it. I gave him the link, and he bought it. Within a couple of hours of doing that. That's kind of a case by case basis, really. Sure. And that's kind of why we like people to sign up and go through the video training, is to make sure that it suits them, because we don't want to take money from people who aren't going to get any value from it. So that's kind of why we do it that way.
I really like that. I really like that. Now this is set up as an evergreen model. Do you live launch this as well, or are your live launches other courses?
We do. We have Evergreen runs on all our products all the time. Bar a couple of them. Mm-hmm. And but we will do a live promotion or a live launch once a year. So for the main product, 10K readers, we do an affiliate launch once every year. And there's a reason we do it once a year. It's because it's exhausting. And it makes you want to just go to bed for a week after you've finished, because not only have you got to worry about, getting readers onto your list and promoting the course to potential customers, you've also got to recruit affiliates and pitch it to affiliates and get affiliates to do stuff. So it's like doing 2 launches at once, and you've got so many moving pieces because you can't be doing it manually. You've got to have them set up as these emails are set up to go out at certain times. So you've got to have a team of people on it. You've got to have all the software working. It's got to be set up months in advance. You've got to be recruiting people, all this stuff. It's definitely worth it from a financial standpoint, but it kind of cripples you emotionally when you do it this way.
This I've heard, yes.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we've done launches. We know it's stressful, and then when you do affiliate ones, it's twice as stressful. But they're worthwhile. But we only do those once a year, and the rest of the time, it's like an evergreen model.
Do you turn the evergreen model off when you go live, or how do they kind of work together?
We've put filters in. So if somebody signs up for the evergreen product during the launch, we move them into the live launch automatically. But if they come in to the evergreen funnel, say halfway through, we leave them in because otherwise they'll have missed half of it. Yeah. And we just set up filters to make sure that they can never be in both at the same time.
Gotcha.
Because that would be so confusing.
What tools are you using to do all this?
Infusionsoft.
Okay.
For all the email and automation, which is incredibly powerful, but you need to have like a team of people to run it. And that allows us to have, an evergreen product running alongside a live one without any crossover. So that's been very cool, and that handles all the billing and credit card stuff as well. And then deadline funnel for the deadline tracking, really. So we don't need to use that for live launches, of course, but those are the main ones, and they all kind of work together quite nicely.
Love that. Thank you, Nick. And that, I mean, what an amazing plethora of information about that. I think we could potentially literally stop the show there, and it would be massively useful for people. But I kind of want to shift gears a little bit and go into the second half of the show here, where I want to talk about the kinds of advice and strategies and tips that you actually offer your subscribers about how people can find their first 10,000 readers. And, you obviously help authors, and many of the people in the audience right now listening are authors or soon-to-be authors as well, who I know are worried about the marketing aspect of their book. So I would love for you to, if you could give us however many principles or really important pieces of advice for that, especially for those who don't yet have significantly large audience. How might they still launch their book and still make it work?
Well, this is a fantastic opportunity for anyone, I think, is if you want to get into the author side of things, now is an amazing time to be an author. It's easier than it's ever been in history to publish your words, and it's wonderful. And but along with that comes the caveat of, yes, it's easier, but it doesn't necessarily mean that people are going to buy it. Right. So that's the missing point. So we at the time when I first set this up, we had hundreds of thousands of self-published authors all throughout the world. Attitudes have changed somewhat since then, but back then it was very much a case of a lot of people thought that if you've written a book, that should be enough in itself to warrant people buying it. Mm-hmm. And we had to work a lot on changing that mindset. Just because you have a product, any product, doesn't mean that people are just going to buy it because it's there. You have to go out there and start finding the right people who are a good fit for it, who are going to enjoy it, and tell them about it. So that was kind of the really big focus for us at the beginning was, that prerequisite was understand what you need to do. And it all comes down to principles that apply to any business really online, which is a way to generate traffic, a way to convert that traffic into email subscribers, and then a way to sell to your email subscribers effectively and without being the pushy salesman type that nobody likes. And those kind of 3 principles are what I pin everything on. So in the course, we split it into 3. We'll look at traffic in this section. Then the next section, we'll look at email subscribers, how to convert that into email subscribers, and then how to sell via email. And, some of the principles we talk about on the webinars and the video training is really making use of the ebook platforms like Amazon being the biggest one. Is think of Amazon not as a bookstore, but as a search engine, which is what it is. It's like, YouTube's a search engine. Google's a search engine. Amazon is a search engine, but for stuff you want to buy, which means that anyone who's on Amazon is already in that sort of buying frame of mind. Otherwise, they wouldn't be there. They're not looking for cat videos.
Right.
So that's an advantage for us as authors, is anyone who sees our book probably wants to buy it. You just have to, push them over the fence, so to speak. Mm-hmm. So I always advise people to use the platform. And one of the great things about Amazon is you can have books up there that are free, either for a limited time or permanently free. And you can use that as a way of generating traffic and interest, because free books on Amazon generally get downloaded about 100 times more than even the cheapest paid books are bought. So the value there is in the traffic. You've got 100 times as many people checking out your book page, downloading your book. You're not making any money from the download, but it's like having a guest post on like the highest trafficked blog in the universe. It's valuable from a traffic standpoint. So if you can then get that traffic off Amazon and onto your platform, then you have an opportunity to build an extremely engaged audience. So I always tell people, if you want to generate easy traffic, get a free book on Amazon. If you write in a series, maybe you put the first book up for free. If you write nonfiction, maybe you put one part of your training or your how-to part up for free. Maybe you do your niche might be Facebook ads for plumbers, and the first book might be all about the ads manager, and then subsequent books will be paid books, but the first one's free. And inside the book, you're offering a lead magnet or reader magnet for people to click through to get more from you in exchange from an email address. So from a fiction standpoint, what I've got my first novel in a series of 7 is free. And then I offer people a short story if they'd like to join my email list, which is set in the same series with the same characters. Mm. And that means that everyone who's joining my list has at least downloaded and probably read at least one of my novels, which means that I know that everyone on my list likes my genre, likes me, and cares enough about me to have downloaded 2 of my books to read, which is, the most engaged person you could ask for, really. Right. And then you've got that set up, because it's all going to be automated for you, because your book's free. It's generating traffic. People are clicking it, downloading it. There's a link in there where they can get a free short story, or if you're nonfiction, it's a cheat sheet or maybe a video training series. And they're clicking through and signing up. And then all you really need to do is then promote that book on Amazon, which you can do with Amazon advertising. You can do with various promotional sites that offer author marketing. And you can just leave it as well, because it tends to pick up steam under its own kind of the Amazon algorithm picks up its popularity, and it'll be recommended to people as well. So, for example, one of my free books, my free novel, has been just that one book has been downloaded over 1 million times in the last couple of years. And I don't promote it. It's just up there. And
how did people even find it?
Exactly. It's they're searching. They're searching for things similar to my book, because I have configured my book with SEO in mind behind the scenes. I have specific keywords are attributed to my book. Specific things are in the title, in the product description, and it's popular. It's got lots of reviews. It's had lots of downloads, and I have promoted it in the past, which has caused it to become more popular. And just like a popular blog post, you must have blog posts of your own, Pat, that are way more popular than others.
Totally.
Some get all the traffic, some don't get so much. It's that same principle. If you can prove to the search engine, which in this case is Amazon, that your book is worthy of recommending, then it will do well under its own steam, and then you can promote it on top of that as and when you choose as well. And that you end up with a fantastic audience of very, very engaged people, which is kind of the foundation of what I tell people to do. Is if you don't have an email list and you don't want to be spending money on advertising and Facebook ads and all this stuff yet, this is a really, really simple and free way of building a very, very engaged audience of book buyers. And that's kind of where I start off with. Tell people, if you do nothing else, do that. And it works amazingly well for people.
So I would imagine that, and thank you for sharing this. I had never heard of using Amazon in this sort of fashion, but where my head is at is if I'm a new author, I'm already working on a book right now, and it's nearly complete, and I'm worried about the marketing. Does this mean that I need to have another 3 to 6 months to create a second book before I can even start working on this process? Or how might I use the work I've done already to help me?
Well, what I'm doing at the moment is I'm writing a new series at the moment. It's the first time I've released new fiction in a couple of years, so it's very exciting for me. And I'm kind of doing this whole thing in public. So I'm writing the book, coming up with the ideas, drafting it out, plotting it out, outlining it, kind of shooting video diaries as I go and putting them up online for people to see, so they can see how this all fits together. So I'm treating this as a new author would. So this is my first book is being written now. I have no audience for it because it's a completely different genre. I have no built-in audience. I have no built-in brand recognition. I have no kind of standing in this niche whatsoever. So I'm in effect a completely new author again, which is scary. But I'm cool, all the time thinking, right, the book is halfway finished, but how am I going to launch it? I can't just upload it and then go to the pub. Right. Because nothing will happen. So I'm thinking all the time, what do I need to do in advance? And the first thing I want to do is think about reviews. I need to get some reviews up there on day one to make sure that the search engine, the Amazon algorithm, picks me up as a popular book. So I'm going out and looking at how can I get reviewers to review my book when it's not published yet. There are services that can do this for you, and there's a few other things you can do. But what I'm going to be doing is, once the book's finished, is having what we call an advanced reader copy or an advanced review copy or an ARC. And I will be building a list around this. So I'll be using things like a company called Booksprout is a good one, and they help you find reviewers. I'll be running some giveaways. I'll be running some ads as well to this book that's not published yet, and saying, hey, do you want to get this amazing book for free? Here's the premise. Here's the blurb. If you want to read this, join my review team, and I'll send you the book for free. And then on release day, I'll ask you to go leave a review, and in return, you'll get this book in advance and for free. And people will then, say, yes, that sounds good. Read the book, and then I'll ask them for reviews on launch day. And all the while, I'm going to be building up an audience of these reviewers, so that when I do launch my first book, it will have some reviews on day one, which is very important. And for my giveaway, the Reader Magnet, I'm going to be writing a short story. So nothing major, something that will probably take 3 or 4 days to write. And I'll have that as my reader offer inside. So when the book goes live for the first time, the novel will go out. There will be a short story inside it. If you can go sign up and get this free short story. And I'll have some reviewers lined up ready to go on day one as well. So that's the sort of thing you have to think about ahead of time, is how are you going to launch this when you don't have an audience?
Right.
Because the audience will come once that book's out there. I mean, you can grow one in advance, but it means spending money, which might be fine. I'm going to be doing some experimenting with it and sharing my results. But really, the main thing for me is get some great reviews of this book, get as many downloads as I can, and then start working on building the audience once it's launched. And then subsequent books in the series, as they launch, I'll have more people on my email list to launch them to each time, which is going to increase the popularity of the series and increase the visibility in that search engine environment on Amazon. So it's a very, very exciting kind of back to basics project for me. So I'm really enjoying it. It's great fun. But that's what I would do if I was a completely new author, which is what I'm doing now. And that's kind of the view that I'd take.
Are you sharing that process live on the blog?
Yes. Well, we've actually set up another site, because I like having lots of sites to keep me busy all the time when WordPress updates and everything stops working.
Gutenberg, wow.
Love Gutenberg. Anyway, that's writefromscratch.com, and that's basically me vlogging, I think that's a word, about the process. So, right back to basics, all the way to, how do I write the book in the first place, which is where we're at the moment. Mm-hmm. So it's sitting down in front of my webcam and going, right, I have this idea for a book. I need to flesh this idea out into a premise. So I need to introduce information about who the characters are, who's the hero, who's the villain. What's the main conflict of the story? What are the stakes at play? How is this going to be interesting to the reader? And then start looking at building out an outline and a scenes list, which is a very good thing for a fiction writer, is having a scenes list. You know where the story starts. You roughly know where it's going to end. How does all the stuff in the middle happen? And you plan it all out. using like legal card or post-it notes or a piece of software. And I'm talking people through this process, because we have some training we call story engines, which is how to structure, plot, plan, and write a novel in 30 days, which is really, really cool. So it's taking something that's super complicated, like writing a novel, and systemizing it and saying, this has to happen in this order, and this is the structure that you need to use. And that really helps. So I'm sat down in front of the webcam and I'm saying, right, we've got these 7 phases that we have to plan out for this story to work. And here's how I'm doing it. So I'm showing them on the screen. Here's where this scene goes. Here's where that scene goes, and really taking them through it in real time, from idea through to writing the book, through to then launching it and marketing it, and subsequent books as well. So it's like the whole process mapped out in video form, so people can follow along. So I thought that'd be a really cool thing for people to see, because that question you asked about what does a new author do? It's a question that could take days to answer if I was talking to you about it. So I thought, well, let's just show people. Let's just do it and record it, and then people can watch along and they can see how all this stuff I teach them can come together and combine into like this full start to finish plan that people can use. So it's been really fun so far.
I love that. And what a smart marketing strategy for you and all the other courses, and bringing new people in. People I'm sure are sharing this with their friends so they can follow along as well. Now I'm intrigued and I want to follow along, and a lot of people in the audience may know and have heard that I am actually starting the work on my own fiction novel, which I'm really excited about. So really, really excited about that. I'm using that as a reward for completing FlynnCon and making 2019 great starting in 2020.
Yeah.
That's going to be a big thing.
It's good for the soul.
Yeah.
Fiction writing is good for – this is why I'm doing it again, because I spent a few years not writing fiction, focusing on, my students. I think if someone's paying me $600 for a course, I owe it to them to give them my full attention. But I missed writing so much, and you have all these stories inside you that you want to tell. And I was like, right, we're committing. We're going to do it, and we're going to record it, and people are going to watch it happen. So it's going to happen. And now I've told everybody on here.
Yeah,
so
that's so cool though. I can't wait to follow that series. We'll have all the links for Write From Scratch and all the things that we talked about in the show notes, of course. A couple minor questions related to the tactic for beginner writers to build their list and to get some exposure when they launch their first book. That early, or that ARC, the advanced reader copy, is that simply just like a PDF of the manuscript that you hand out to people, and is that like a landing page that you collect information on, or technically how is that all handled?
From a technical standpoint, it wouldn't be a PDF because people like to read on their Kindle or on their phone. Okay. So it has to be formatted as an ebook, which means it has to be an EPUB file or a Mobi file. Silly file names. Yeah. But basically, it's like having a mini website on your phone, and it allows the text to flow within the device and feel more like a book. Whereas a PDF is just like a flat sheet of text. It doesn't really do anything. So you have to format it as these different file types. There's tons of software that'll do it. You can take a cleanly formatted Word file. The key point being cleanly formatted.
Clean, right.
Yeah. And it will convert it into an ebook for you. Or you can pay someone $100 or something to do it for you.
And how do you get it into their device to be able to read in the proper way?
There's a few different ways. On your website, you just give them a link to download and instructions, because literally all you need to do is download the file and email it to yourself, and voila, it will be there.
Oh, okay.
Or there's services that will do that for you as well. I mean, one is a company called bookfunnel.com, and they specialize in getting readers their ebooks delivered. So as an author, you sign up with these guys, and their job is to make sure that this ebook file you've put up there gets into the hands of readers. And they have various fancy technological ways of doing that, and that's quite cool as well. But in a sense, essentially, it would be the same principle as a cheat sheet or a transcript or whatever. It'd be a landing page telling people what they could get, an email sign-up box, and then an email to deliver a link to the download page, and they could then download it, follow the instructions, and be away, and it's all there for them.
That's simple enough. I like that.
Yeah.
Nick, thank you. So I want to talk to you for like 10 more hours about this. because it's just so interesting, and I love the way you set everything up, and you make it sound so simple, and I think that's part of it. You've just kept everything, although you're using technology, and yes, that can be complicated. You've always made it, seemingly simple in terms of like what are the goals, and let's just make that happen. I think it's an important lesson to take away from this beyond everything else you shared. So, tell us where before you go. We can go to one more time, follow along in your journey, and some of the more important things that the audience should be following that you have going on right now.
Sure. If you're interested in the whole process of being an author, from coming up with ideas, getting the book written, launched, published, marketing, and all that stuff, the whole kind of gamut of authorship, check out writefromscratch.com. And that's kind of where you'll see the whole journey mapped out from start to finish. If you're interested in the author marketing side of things, check me out at yourfirst10kreaders.com for some video training, or over at blog.yourfirst10kreaders.com for some cool articles and case studies, and guest posts from authors who are killing it right now. So there's lots of stuff to learn about.
So great. I'm so excited about going down the fiction journey in the future. I mean, from a marketer's point of view, this might sound weird, but I'm like already thinking about, well, what might happen if that book turns into a movie? What kind of products and costumes can people be wearing, and what would get kids excited, and all those kinds of things.
What would my action figure look like?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's good. So we'll see what happens. But Nick, thank you so much for coming on and sharing all of this wisdom and all the tactics, and most of all, motivating us to continue moving forward. Congrats on all the success since 2014. Keep up the great work, and I hope we can check in with you again in the future to see how your writing project, your new one, is going, and I can perhaps we can get our heads together related to mine as well, and we can just take it from there.
Love it. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you, Nick. Wow, a ton of amazing content, super inspirational, very helpful for me as well as we begin to learn how to, on my team, begin to start to create these sort of unique launch sequences for individuals who come in at different times, as opposed to these larger, more coordinated but very tiresome live launches, especially if they have affiliates on board too. So Nick, thank you so much for this. And also the advice for those who are looking to get their first 10K readers as well. And that's exactly where you might go to find more from Nick, yourfirst10kreaders.com. And obviously you can get the show notes with all the links and resources we mentioned today at smartpassiveincome.com/session358. Again, that's smartpassiveincome.com/session358. Now make sure you hit subscribe to the show if you haven't already, wherever you are listening to this right now. And if you're listening on the website, there's some links for you there to help you learn where you can subscribe. And I just want to thank you so much. You guys are amazing. Make sure you hit subscribe because we got a lot of great content coming your way very shortly. And I just want to take a quick moment here to thank all of you, especially those of you who have left a quick review on iTunes or wherever you're at. It's just, I read them and I am so thankful. And I just want to say I appreciate you. I do read them. And I do go and see the ones from other countries too. So if you're listening outside of the States, you are being heard. I appreciate you so much. And I look forward to serving you in the next episode. So stick around. Look forward to serving you then. Until then, keep crushing it. Love you guys. Team Flynn for the win.
Thanks for listening to the Smart Passive Income Podcast at www.smartpassiveincome.com.
Look, I get it. You want to grow your business, but trying to sell to hundreds or even thousands of people gets very exhausting very fast. But what if you could sell at scale with a simple, powerful quiz? Score App helps you sell to more people without adding more to your plate. You build a quiz or assessment that your audience actually wants to take. Then they answer a few quick questions and get a personalized result right away. It shows them where they're at and what they need to do next and how you can help. And you build huge amounts of trust before you make even a single offer. No hard sell, no chasing leads, just value at scale. Get 50% off the first 3 months using the discount code SPI. All you have to do is just head to scoreapp.com/SPI. Again, that's scoreapp.com/SPI. Have you dreamt about being your own boss, but still haven't made the first steps to making that dream a reality? Well, I get that. Starting a business can feel super overwhelming with legal forms, paperwork, finances. It's a lot. And that's why I'm excited to tell you about Taylor Brands. Taylor is a complete business builder designed to make launching your business simple and stress-free. You can register your LLC in just minutes, keeping your personal assets and the business assets separate from day one. From there, you get access to everything you need to get off the ground. Legal documents, licenses and permits, invoicing and bookkeeping tools, and even a 100-day business coaching program, all designed to help you hit the ground running. You'll also get a free personalized business plan, branding tools, and so much more. And of course, listeners of this show get an exclusive 35% discount to get started. All you have to do is head to taylorbrands.com/SPI. That's TAILORBRANDS.com/SPI. Stop dreaming, start building with Taylor Brands.